Today I'm going to talk about the direct method in watercolour, and it's outlined in the book Discovering Watercolour by Jack Merriott. You may have seen a couple of weeks ago I made a video about the controlled method, which is essentially you paint kind of start to finish in one big wet wash, where the direct method is basically the opposite of that. So you'll start with your centre of interest or focal point and lay that in fairly dark, so you're setting your darkest darks right from the start. So it's kind of different to how most people work in watercolour. So usually you'd have your lights first and then save your darks right to the end. Well, with this method, it's useful if you're painting plein air or outdoors and there's a fleeting moment that you really want to capture. Like in this scene, it was somebody or a group of people walking past me, and I wanted to get that down. So I start with the people. Now, I mean, obviously, if it was a boat coming into a harbour or maybe shadows of a tree, and that's going to change, you'd use the direct method. So get that down onto paper straight away. Now, this is a beach scene. I painted it quite a while ago in Norfolk, and I'm just going to recreate it here. It outlines the technique quite nicely, I think. And it was a group of people walking across wet sand and casting reflections, and I knew that it was going to change quickly, so I went straight in with some dark paint and got the figures in place right from the start. And I started with the two largest that are right there in front of me, and it's just basically a small dot of burnt sienna for the head, and then I've mixed that with some blue to make a dark, and just putting in essentially a silhouette. They're lit from the back, and just bring their legs down, and I'll add the reflections as well at this stage. When using this method, you have to be quite careful that you don't go too dark too early. So essentially knowing how dark you need to go. And then when you put the rest of the beach and the sky are painted around, it should pull everything together tonally. And now those figures are put in, so I'll just very simply suggest a reflection on the wet sand. And you can see there I put in a horizon line with pencil. That's just so I know roughly where to place the heads. If you're on an eye line with people walking along, all the heads will pretty much fall on the same line. And so these people are a bit further away, so it's smaller. But essentially the heads are still on the same line. If you were looking from above, the heads would seem to be lower as they got away from each other. Again, very simple reflection there. Okay, maybe there's a group of people just in between there. So I'll just put 3 or 4 small dots just for the heads, put them all in at the same time. And as it's a group of people, just kind of join it all together don't need to paint individual people really if it's a group. I mean, not even counting the number of legs there really, it's just, it still reads as a group of people. And just put a bit of dark painting on those other figures just while it's still wet and allow that to kind of run down and blend together. And just put another couple of figures in, just maybe walking away just off the shoulder of the figure there on the right. I'll leave a tiny sort of white edge there just to separate them slightly. So another benefit of this technique actually is that because you're putting your darks down straight onto the white paper, it makes it easy to preserve the whites. Now if I'd gone straight in with a wash for the sky and the beach first and then laid the figures over dark, it's very difficult to know where you want those whites to be and to preserve them. But using this technique, because it's straight onto dry paper, it's easy to keep nice small areas of white. And just put a few more figures in there just a bit further away. Not really anything more than just a small dot, and then just a line for the body. Just add a tiny bit of shadow to the figures there. Just slightly darken them on the right hand side. The light's going to be coming in from the left eventually, so darker on the right hand side. Okay, that's that stage done, so I'll just dry that. I'm just going to wet the top of the paper just with the mist bottle, just to lubricate it slightly when I put the sky in. I'll just switch to the larger brush and I'll just grab some cobalt blue. And a nice bright cool blue for the sky. And then I'll complement that with some orange around where the sun's going to be. Obviously blue and orange, complementary colours on the colour wheel. If you'd like me to make a video about colour theory, let me know down in the comments and I'll see if I can come up with something on that. Or if there's anything else actually that you'd like me to cover in a future video, just let me know down in the comments. Okay, I've put that blue in the sky and I'm just going to mirror that down in the sand area, just using dry brush so it gets a bit of sparkle on it. And you can see straight away it's kind of pulled it all together already. The figures don't look as dark. So I've just mixed up an orange just with some Indian yellow and some alizarin. and just put that straight in, keeping it very simple. And just reflect some of that down into the sand. And just paint around the figures, taking a bit of care. I mean, not too much, it's fine if you go over it a bit. And just add some burnt sienna and just some what's left over in the palette, just to muddy it slightly, just to give a sandy colour. I'll just grab some raw sienna and just bring that down from the sky just down to the horizon line, just so it's slightly lighter than everything else, and leave a few areas unpainted in the sky as well that possibly act as some slightly wispy clouds. I'm just going to grab a piece of paper towel and just roll that up into a ball. And then I'm going to very simply just lift out a small circle and just soften the edges as I go with that. And that's like a sunset or a sunrise. And then squash the paper towel up even more, just so it's got a slight point on it. And then just lift out a bit more paint. That's kind of like the reflection of light across the sand. Keeping it very simple, I think that's enough of that. I'll just go back in with a slightly smaller brush and just add some cobalt blue into that raw sienna and just put in a distant headland or sand dunes, and just bring that straight across, and then take a bit of care to cut around the head slightly. Slightly thinner paint there, and then just bring that all the way across. Just grab a bit of clean water and then just slightly soften that edge. Go back into the larger brush and just grab some blue and some burnt sienna and just mix sort of medium dark grey brown. And just add some shadows to the sand in the foreground area. Just adds a bit of texture and a bit of shape. Again, just some clean water and soften some of those edges. I think while it's still slightly wet there in the foreground, I'll just grab some clean water and just knock that onto the surface, and then allow just a few blooms to form, just a few kind of sort of happy accidents, I suppose you could call it. It just adds a bit more texture. Okay, I'll zoom the camera in slightly and you can just see those blooms forming. Okay, with that, I think that's the painting finished. Okay, take the tape off and just have a look at the finished picture. Well, that's the direct method. That's from the book Discovering Watercolour by Jack Merriott. It's a very interesting technique. It's worth a try. Well, let me know down in the comments if you've got any questions, or like I said before, or any other subjects you want me to cover. And please do give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Be back again next week with another video, every Friday as always. So until then, happy painting and bye for now.